Lazy exercise episode 1, which is starting your weight loss journey or fitness journey in general. Obviously, if you want to gain muscles, then there'll be information for that as well in the following episodes. But right now, we're trying to start this basic thing. Most people who want to start exercising typically is for weight loss. Secondarily, muscle gains. But there are the exceptions. Obviously, there's some people who don't have a problem with their weight; they just have a problem with muscle mass. So that's for basically a different topic. For those who want to lose weight, maintain weight, which is very important, because if you're okay being big, I'm okay with it too, right? It's your choice. If you want to be big, that's fine. But logically, don't let yourself get bigger. Logically, there's reasons for it, health reasons, appearance. I'll say it, appearance. If you look good, big in a certain way, in a certain shape, then that's fine, right? But if you're not that appealing, if you allow yourself to get bigger, then why would you do that, right? Why would you allow yourself to get in a shape that's not appealing? Not appealing to you, not appealing to others, right? If you care what other people think, right? So it's just about being logical. Like if you're big, if you like being big, curvy, thick, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. But keep in mind the idea that might want to be smaller version, smaller thick, right? Smaller big, because of the fact that a lot of stuff is made for a smaller body type, like airplane seats, bus seats, right? Car seats, and the list goes on, right? Doors, beds, chairs, and the list goes on, right? A bathtub, right? Just think of it logically, right? You don't want to be that heavy on a scale, so that's another factor you might want to look into and think about, and the list goes on. The thing is, the way your shape is not as much of a problem as how out of shape. That's why we use the term out of shape, right? If you're gonna be big, at least be big in shape, right? Have a big shape that looks good. I guess I'll try and give some examples. So for big girls, for example, obviously it applies to guys as well, right? So I use her as an example of big in one way. Everybody always use Lizzo, so I won't use Lizzo as an example. But see, this shape is too much. She can't even wear this shirt in a cute way because she's too big for it. Right? And you scroll down, you see other females who the outfits barely fit them. They don't look that well in the outfit. They don't look as good as they could. Let's put it that way. They don't look as good as they could, but look at these other ladies right here. They're big, but they make it work. Right? They make sure that that their bodies are of a certain shape and size that fits. Here's the main thing. If you care about what guys think, well, most guys don't have a problem with big thighs, big butts, big tits, right? Big lips, right? Things of that nature. So big is not an issue for most guys. It's when it's things that don't need to be big. Your ankles, your neck, around your eyes, right? Under your chin, so you have multiple chins, as they say, right? All this, extra weight or fat. I'll just say fat. All this extra fat dangling from your arms. You don't need that. You rather have a purse dangling from your arm, or a sexy man dangling from your arms, not this bag of fat dangling from your arms, right? Just being logical. I'm just saying it's like big is good when it's good, right? Like look at this lady right here. That's nice. That looks good. But damn, look at this. That's a woman right there. And that doesn't look bad. I like it. I prefer thinner women, yes, but I see this and like, oh, this looks good. I'm not against that. This one right here in the black, not bad, right? Obviously, she could be, you know, have more of an hourglass figure like the other ones, but this ain't that bad, you know what I mean? Like, trust me, you just saw images of worse. So this ain't bad. This we can work with, right? You know, we got some very exceptional ladies out here with a lot to work with, if you know what I mean. But that's the point, is that they're making sure that it works. That's all I'm saying. So nothing wrong with being big, but at least have control of how big and what's big. That's all I'm saying. All right, so let's get off of that. So the talking points here, and of course, you know, I want to start off with the ladies, right? Because the ladies, beauty in different sizes, right? Variety, always good. Guys typically, we like the idea of being muscular, or at least not fat, right? That's just how guys are. We're simple. Either you're your basic athletic body, or you're the Hulk, right? So step one is to decide what you're going to do, right? Decide, to want to control your weight or lose weight or whatever, right? The first step is always controlling your weight, right? Like I said, regardless if you're skinny, fat, whatever, right? Controlling your weight. You should have control of it. So whatever you eat, you have to control of it, right? So control your weight, control what you eat, because 99% of why you're big or small in some instances is based off of what you eat. If you look at skinny people, for example, you see what they eat. You notice they don't eat a lot of the same things you probably eat if you're not a skinny person. If you're a big person, well, look at what skinny people are eating, and you'll notice that you're not eating the same. Since you're not eating the same, it's no surprise that y'all different, right? Logic, right? Just like in the animal kingdom, you got animals that eat that are carnivores, and you have omnivores. So you have meat eaters and you have vegetation eaters, right? And you usually see how different they look. Most meat eaters tend to be muscular, lean, but it's because they're active. They eat meat, yes, but they're active. So the meat helps to build muscles because of the protein. So, but there are some animals that are just big, just big for the just big just because they're big. And it's mainly because they consume a lot of calories, way more calories than they actually use. And that's the other thing, right? So now we're going to get to the detail, right? So step one is deciding what you want to do, right? Deciding you want to start adding exercise, or at least control of your eating habits and your activities, right? Maybe you're an introvert, you stay indoors a lot. Well, you might want to get out more. Walking is a good lazy exercise. And that's the other thing. I'm trying to promote the idea of what I call lazy exercise, which is just basically just trying to incorporate activities. That's what I call it, activities. Basically exercise. Add exercises or exercising to your life. But I call it activities. Because riding a bike is an activity, right? Skateboarding, swimming, dancing at a club. Not a club guy, but the point is like, you could dance anywhere, at home, at a party, right? The point is to be active, walking up steps instead of taking an elevator or escalator. I've done that many times where I had escalator as an option, but I take the stairs. I take the stairs, especially if I have the time. If I'm in a hurry, I take the escalator. Ironically, like I walk up the escalator, but the escalator, since it's moving, it speeds up the travel time. But anyway, that's if I'm in a hurry. But if I'm not in a hurry and I want to get some exercise, steps, right? Doesn't hurt. Taking the long way around to a certain destination instead of taking the shortest route, take the longest route, and I get some exercise. The thing is, it's about being active, getting your heart rate up, right? So you can burn some fat. All right. So step one to controlling food. I wish I had this more organized for you, but the idea is, food is what got you big in the first place. So food is what's going to get you back in shape, right? It's what's going to get you to stop gaining weight. So first off, you got to stop, consuming a lot of calories. Because sometimes you might think that it's like you're not eating a lot. You'd be like, oh, I only eat like once or twice a day. And it's like, yeah, but how much calories are you consuming? If you're consuming 20,000 calories a day and you're eating twice a day, that don't mean nothing. Because somebody who's eating 3 times a day probably is consuming 3,000 calories. So that's 1,000 calories per meal. You're eating only 2 meals, but your calorie intake is 10,000 calories per meal. So you're eating 17,000 more calories. So that's the difference between you and somebody else. Because I remember my younger sister, mentioned the fact that I only eat 1 meal a day. I don't understand. I'm not losing weight. It's like it's because of whatever you're eating. I didn't, question her and whatnot. I should have, just to see what she's doing and give some advice. I mean, I sent her some information to help her out, but it's just the fact that I could have actually probed into it. I'll probably hit her up later on and find out, what her diet is and try to help her out. But the funny thing is, she got in shape before she got pregnant. She's big because kid giving birth, but she's trying to get back in shape, and you kind of got to do the same thing you did before. Whatever you did before, because this is her 3rd child, so it's like whatever you did before to lose weight. From the other kids, do the same thing. It shouldn't be. The process should be the same. If it worked before, it should work again, right? So whatever you were doing before should work. So we'll see. But anyway, so I do the whole 1 meal a day concept, where the idea is you're going to have 1 meal a day. Not that you're not going to eat more than that. I'm just saying your base is 1 meal. So you're going to have it set up where you're going to pick what that 1 meal is going to be, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and that will be the time where you have an actual meal where you can have a plate of some food, right? But all the other meals, right, or all the other times you would have had meals, are going to be basically snacking, right? And I don't mean like junk food or potato chips or donuts or anything like that. Obviously, I mean you'll be eating something else that's smaller portions, less calories, right? That kind of stuff. So you might eat like a banana, right, as an example, or maybe some fat-free yogurt with a banana, something like that. You get the point. It's like the idea is that you're gonna pick a meal, and that meal could be, well, you want it to be very low in calories. Doesn't have to be a salad or anything like that, right? It could be something you like. Like, let's say you like pizza, for example, something like that. I'd rather you eat something a lot healthier, but maybe a chicken wrap or a Caesar salad or something like that, as an example. Or you might whip up some eggs, whip up some oatmeal or something like that. Like, you'll try to set up a healthy meal, ideally a healthy meal. And that's what you're gonna consume the most. Is what you're gonna fill yourself. You want the meal to fill you, because the idea that's your only meal a day, right? You're eating 1 meal a day. You want it to be something you can stuff yourself with, and it not be a problem because it won't be high in calorie. But then again, you're trying to get into the habit of not consuming too much, right? Because portions matter. And then there's the calorie thing, right? So you want to make sure you count your calories, right? So whatever you're consuming, you want to make sure that you know how much calories in it, right? So if you're going to eat, cartons of eggs do have data on it, so it can let you know how many calories per egg, you know. So it depends on how many eggs, eating 2 eggs, 3 eggs, 4 eggs type of thing. Typically, I try to eat 2 eggs or maximum 4, but typically 2 eggs. Some beans. I lean towards pork and bean because flavor purposes, but it's one source of protein that's plant-based. And of course, the eggs give me the organic proteins, the animal protein, and then anything else that I can find that interesting eating with the meal. I'll add it to it, like maybe applesauce or something like that, because the applesauce does help you, lose weight, helps you sweat out weight, fat. I should say fat, not weight, fat. Helps you poop out fat, piss out fat. So because it has a fiber called pectin, and it's really good at capturing and flushing out fat from the body. So apples is definitely something you add to your diet for weight loss purposes. Plus, it tastes good, so it makes it a good snack. And like I said, for the rest of the day, you want to eat here and there whenever whenever you have some cravings, you're hungry. Eat something like a banana, for example, and definitely drink a lot of water. That's another thing. Drink a lot of water. You want to consume as much water as you want. You want to fill yourself up with a lot of water, so that way there's very little space in the stomach to fill it up with any food. So that's the thing. You're trying to be filled, because that's one of the reasons why you eat a lot, is because you're trying to fill yourself up, trying to feel full. So fill yourself up with water. Right? Before you eat, drink water. Right? So drink a lot of water. To quench your thirst first and foremost. Always drink water for hydration, obviously. But then, drink before you eat, so that way you're filling up your stomach, so that way once you start eating, you'll get full sooner than later. Or at least you'll feel like eating less, so you'll notice you eat less. Another thing is, make sure your meals, specifically your meal, also try to incorporate it with your snacks as well, heat. So you want your meals to be hot, that's what I'm saying. So you want to eat hot food as much as possible. That's why making eggs and beans, things of that nature. For example, obviously you can try other things. This is just what I do. I just mainly try to make my meal just consist of basic stuff like beans and eggs. Sometimes I'll make rice, so I can have the beans and eggs with the rice, so that way it makes a meal. But sometimes I just skip out the rice and just eat the beans and the eggs. Sometimes I make sandwiches, not salad, egg sandwiches. So I just eat eggs with some bread and bang, there, some egg sandwiches. It depends. I mean, sometimes I'll just eat the beans, just a bowl of beans. So, and some applesauce maybe on the side, and a lot of water, right? So I just make it simple. And this just helps me not gain weight. Now, obviously, to lose weight, that's where you have to be active. You have to physically move things. So the first step is you're not trying to get bigger, right? So you're trying to control what you eat so you don't gain weight. Then, if obviously if you want to lose weight, then that's where exercise, that's where being active, doing things helps you out. So of course, getting some home equipment would be helpful. Gym membership, obviously, right? Obviously, there's tons of YouTube videos you can watch online, so you can just watch people exercise and just follow along, right? So that way you have kind of like a personal trainer. You can subscribe to some people who, make daily, weekly, whatever videos. They probably have a whole bunch of videos you can watch on a daily basis, and get motivated. There's information out there. That's the thing. It's like you just got to get into the mindset of being healthy, right? Adding fitness to your life, not in a big way, but just in a way that is comfortable for you, in a way that works best for you. So that's what you want to do. Like I said, burning calories the laziest way possible. Just walking and jumping. Like I tend to do jumping jacks a lot of times just to get my heart rate up. You know, right? You want your heart racing over 100 beats a minute. There are devices that you can use to measure your heartbeat racing. There's some exercise bikes that have that feature where you put your hands on the handlebar and it'll tell you what your heart rate is. So that comes in handy. I personally have an exercise bike that has that feature. It's right up here. It's the Xterra Fitness FB150 folding exercise bike. So that's the one I personally have. Like I have a lot of this stuff up here. Well, I have everything except the Evo, but I have everything here. I use it. I even have the grip strength thing right here, right next to me. I'm just going to use. Have that make. And drink water. So like I said, right now my snack of choice is Hot Pockets. So I'll admit that I'm eating Hot Pockets right now with water. But I think they're vegan Hot Pockets, so that's a thing. As an example, so like I said, haven't eaten much today, so haven't gained much. Plus, I weighed myself on the scale before I eat. So I weighed myself, and it's like, all right, the weight, I have lost some weight since yesterday, so that's good. So I can eat these Hot Pockets and then not be a big deal. It's not going to ruin my losses, or I was going to say gains, but it's not. I didn't gain anything. Obviously, I lost weight, so this won't ruin my losses. So there's that. But yeah, got some weights to obviously exercise. Like I said, there's videos out there, so you can exercise even without equipment. It's just that hey, equipment does make the process faster. But like I was saying originally, what you eat is the reason you're big. So obviously, controlling and changing it is just going to make you smaller. So you want to start swapping out food. Right? So let's say let's say you drink soda, right? Well, stop, right? Stop drinking carbonated drinks, right? Soda pop, soda, whatever you want to call it, and start trying to drink something else. You can start drinking juice. If you don't want to immediately go to start drinking water, you still should drink some water, obviously. But if you don't want to immediately just like stop drinking anything and only drink water, right? Then you might want to work water into your consumption, right? Start drinking some water, but you don't have to drink a lot if you're not a fan of water. Start drinking a little bit, but definitely change the whatever soda you're drinking. First thing you could do is start drinking less. So if let's say you drink a 20 ounce of Pepsi, for example, then start drinking a 16 ounce Pepsi. Basically, instead of getting a bottle of Pepsi, get a can of Pepsi, right? Maybe for time you can maybe after a couple weeks you can change to Diet Pepsi, right? And then maybe you'll get to like, I'll start drinking orange juice or apple juice or something else, or milk or something like. You might start leaning off, or you'll be like, you know what, I'll just drink water and go that route. So that'd be a good thing, right? Getting to that point where you're slowly changing your eating habits. Because when you try to change your habits, right? You try to change your life too fast, it doesn't tend to last too long. Because then nostalgia kicks in, right? Complacency, the stuff you're so used to how things was, you just want to go back to it because it's familiar. You're used to it, right? If you're used to being lazy and not exercising, as soon as you start exercising, you immediately quickly want to get back to not exercising because it's easier not to exercise. but you want to get to the point where you're slowly adding activities and different changes in life. And that's the thing. It's about slow and steady, right? Slow and steady wins the race. You have a lot of time in your life. Don't be in a hurry, right? You'll be alive for the next 10, 20 years. God forbid, right? Something were to happen, but there's a high mathematical probability. I'll say 80% chance. That's better than none. That's better than zero, right? 80% chance that you'll still be alive 20 years from now. So you got time. So try to lose a pound a month instead of trying to lose a pound a day. Like, pound a day, that's actually too much. Try to lose a pound a month, right? 1 pound a month, just slowly, or at least try not to gain weight, right? Like I was saying, maintain. So at least don't gain weight. If you're happy with how you are, then that's fine. Just don't let yourself change, right? Don't let yourself get bigger. There is something to say about getting smaller. Obviously, smaller will be better because your clothes will fit better. You'll feel better. You will look better to others, to yourself. However way it works out, right? But definitely gotta start changing your food. You can't be eating the same thing and think you're gonna get different results. Think you're gonna be better, be different. You gotta change what you're doing, and that's how you're going to change, right? So I already mentioned swapping out food, products versus food. Obviously, you need to know what is food and what isn't food. And a rule of thumb is if it's in a plastic packaging, there's a high probability. I'll say there's a 8 out of 10 chance that it's not food. It's a product. So that's the difference between a product and food, right? Because a lot of people like to think whatever they buy is food. It's like, no, it's a product. It's created by a company. They're mass producing this thing. This is not something that grows on trees or in the dirt. It's not a natural thing. It's a man-made thing. That's the difference between a product and food. Food is typically natural, right? It's typically non-man-made. Granted, men and women can grow food, right? Fruits and vegetables and animals, right? Animals are a food source, right? Fish and whatnot, right? They can breed, they can farm and whatnot, but they're just involved in the process of these natural processes. These things will happen and exist even without us, right? The products can't exist without us, right? This product is man-made. So that's the thing you gotta understand. That's the difference between food and products. A lot of people like to think like, oh man, I can't lose weight. It's hard for me to not eat food. And then when you look at what they're eating, it's like, well, none of what you're eating is food. So that's the first thing you're saying to yourself that's wrong. You're assuming what you're eating is food. McDonald's is not food. It's delicious, but it's not food. It's a product. So you gotta find food. And typically fruits and vegetables is food. Cooking versus ordering. Obviously, it should be obvious, but common sense is not as common as it used to be. It should be obvious that cooking your own food, creating your own food, right? Making sure you know what's in your plate, right? What's on your plate, what's going into your body, you know what it is. When you're ordering stuff or you're buying products, you don't know what's in there. You don't know what the companies put in there that they're letting you put into your body. So you gotta have more control of what you eat. So obviously start looking to eat real food as opposed to products, and then get into cooking, which is a very useful skill. You can always use that skill in society, but if an apocalypse happened, you'll be grateful that you know how to cook. So if you have to go fishing and catch your own fish and catch your own animals, your own chickens, and raise them, pluck them and cook them, you'll be glad you know how to do it. So learn the skill of cooking, and that's just useful, period. But like I said, cooking for yourself is better than ordering out. And then there's intermediate fasting. Basically, it's just reducing how much you eat. That's one step, and then the other step is just how long it takes for you you get to your next meal. So instead of eating every 30 minutes, right? Obviously, try to eat every 6 to 8 hours, right? Try to prolong how long it takes for you to eat. So, for example, if you choose, let's say you choose lunch to be your meal time, right? When you actually have a meal. So then your breakfast should be, a light snack. So it could be, I'll just go with the whole, banana and maybe some fat-free yogurt or something, and that be your breakfast. Obviously, drink some water. Some people, some health people do recommend coffee, and if you're a coffee drinker, then good for you, right? Right? If you're a coffee drinker, that solves that problem. Just make sure you don't have a lot of sugar. You don't try to make some fancy, you know, coffee drink. Just try to have some basic coffee. You know, um, and then like I said, the banana, the yogurt, as an example. You figure out what's best for you. Because remember, it's about just changing enough about your eating habits to make a difference. I'm not going to tell you what you should eat because some people might be allergic to bananas, so don't eat bananas if you're allergic to, right? For example. So it's like the thing is you just gotta find stuff that you like, stuff that is food, like fruits and vegetables, right? If you like tomatoes, then yeah, start eating more tomatoes. Don't just eat tomatoes, like on a hoagie um or just like like tomatoes in pasta sauce or something like that, like or pizza. Like, oh yeah, I like tomatoes. That's why I like pizza. It's like, yeah, there are tomato does come in other forms, so you might want to try other tomato forms like sliced tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes is what they call it, the little small itty bitty tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. I like them. Like sometimes I just snack on them. Like I get me a thing of cherry tomatoes, make some scrambled eggs, right, and just eat cherry tomatoes with scrambled eggs, right, and drink some water or orange juice if I want to add some extra flavor to the meal, and I go that route. Whatever works. But the idea is just to change how you eat. Another thing is, some people get bored of eating the same thing, so you might want to switch it up. This is why a lot of people eat, at different places. Like, today I'll eat at McDonald's, but tomorrow I'll eat at Wendy's or something like that, or I eat Chinese food or something like that. It's like, it's like, yeah, you're constantly, switching because you're eating more for you're eating more for the experience, less of health. You're not considering the health factors of what you're eating. Just eating because, hey, today I feel like eating pizza, or tomorrow, what, I'm gonna eat a whole bucket of ice cream. Like, okay, like sounds awesome, right? But it's not really good for you. I mean, obviously, try to reduce. Try to get into the habit. I always talk about the idea of eat less fat. Some people will be like, oh, but it's not about fat, it's about calorie intake, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, but the thing is that is true, calorie in, calorie out type stuff, burning calories, that helps you lose weight, and eating too much calories, you gain weight. Yes, I agree with that, but here's the thing that causes you to eat a lot, which is why you consume a lot of calories, is fat, because fat is addictive, fat tastes good. So that's why you want to reduce the fat in what you're eating, so that way you could eat stuff that has very little to no fat. That's why you can enjoy, you know, eating tomatoes or an apple or a banana, salad. Right? These things have very little fat, right? So you know, so they're not gonna be that addictive. Like you eat them and like, oh, this was food. I'm not hungry, I'm not starving, but at the same time, it doesn't have the same, feeling as eating a nice Big Mac or something. It's like, yeah, that's the point. It's a different thing. You're eating for function, not for experience, right? You're not eating for fun. You're eating for fuel. There you go. You're not eating for fun. Eating a Big Mac is fun, but eating a salad, that's not for fun, that's for fuel. You need the vitamins and minerals and all that good stuff that comes from it. You need natural things, right? You need nature in you. You're part of nature, so you need to consume nature, right? So again, product versus food, right? In that scenario. So, like I said, you just want to figure out what works best for you. Slowly change your what you're eating. Reduce the amount. Like I said, if you eat 2 slices of pizza a day, for example, eat one instead. Right? Start getting. The idea is just to start cutting in half what you consume. If you're still going to eat 3 meals a day, because you're not going to go with a 1 meal a day strategy right off the bat. That's fine. It takes time, but at least start cutting your intake. Right. If you're going to eat a donut, don't eat the whole thing. Eat half of it today and eat the other half tomorrow. You get the idea. Stretch it out, or at least eat half the donut for breakfast, right, and the other half for lunch or dinner, right? As an example. The thing is, just don't try to consume. Try to change how you're eating. So eat half of what you normally eat, right? Then start trying to reduce how many times you eat. That's another thing, right? So it's all about reduction. It's all about reducing, how much you eat, how many times you eat, what you eat, what's in it, right? The amount of ingredients or the amount of fats or the amount of calories, right? Trying to reduce. It's all about reduction. The more you reduce that has to do with your food and drinks, the more you reduce your body. That should be common sense, right? I mean, does it make sense? Is my math mathing? That's what I'm trying to say. Is my math mathing? So I think I'll leave it at that because this is just episode 1. Tons more information. Go check out my website, kungfuindustries.weebly.com/lazy exercises. You can just go to Kung Fu Industries. The link will be in the video description. It'll take you straight to here, and then there's a whole bunch of other links and things here, information. A lot of good information. It's always good to learn. That's the thing. I found some really good videos that'll give you some information more than what I just mentioned, so that way you can go educate yourself, which is important, right? Knowledge is power. So go check it out, learn, earn. All right, get your gains or your losses, whatever you want, whatever your goal is. See you on the next episode.